Now, the reason why we called it, we told you so, because, of course, as you know, on our show here, Under the Mat Radio, and, of course, on Wrestling Black and White on Thursday, Angry Mark always breaks a lot of the news, most of it. I tend to break some. And it's funny how Angry Mark breaks news, and yet the Dirt Sheets and everybody else tends to just break it a good 2, 3, maybe 4 weeks later, and we tend not to get credit. Of course, a lot of things that we said will happen in the business pretty much do happen. As we're saying, as an example, as we saw, I believe, last week on Raw, AJ Styles, the return to Cena on Memorial Day, AJ Styles ended up turning heel with the club, what a generic name, Gallows and Anderson end up beating up on Captain 4K to John Cena. Now I'm going to start things off, Toph, and then start team. Let me know your thoughts of the whole angle and your thoughts of AJ Styles being heel.
My thoughts on AJ being heel. It was a genuine surprise because only in the sense of the merch that he sells, I need to pay a little bit more attention to merchandise stuff. As I get older, I'm paying more attention to some of the more political stuff like, stocks, house show attendance, merchandise, stuff like that. Last I checked, AJ was on the top 5 as of last month, last week, and fans were receiving him pretty well. So it's very unusual for a top merch seller to turn. I know when CM Punk, when he went on his little rant on Cole Cabana's podcast, he went into detail about when Vince McMahon offered him the decision of going heel. Punk was against it because his merch was doing good numbers. And, as they say, they say that kids don't buy heel merch. I've always kind of been bullshit on that because the Attitude Era, the NWO and DX stuff was selling out like hotcakes. But people say, well, Tove, that was the Attitude Era, different time, different demographic, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I get where that comes from, but I don't agree entirely on the whole bad guys don't. I don't agree entirely on the kids don't want to wear a heel merch. I mean, think about it like this. This may seem a little random, but everyone collected toys at some point. I used to collect DC stuff like Batman toys, Superman toys. I mean, just because Lex Luthor and the Joker were bad, it didn't mean I didn't want their toy. I mean, I remember as a kid, I wanted a Green Goblin toy more than I wanted a Spider-Man one, but that's neither here nor there. But AJ going heel, that's fine, because the truth is AJ's cool, and I like him, but they're pushing Roman Reigns as the guy. It's a mistake, but that's what Vince wants to do. And then you have John Cena there, who's also still the face of the company. So if you're going to have Roman Reigns and John Cena in the same company at the exact same time, then that makes AJ Styles basically the de facto face number 3. So that would make him the third babyface. So he would kind of be like bronze. As a heel, he can go a little bit further. To anyone that remembers, when Christian became the champion and they did the whole 2-day thing where Orton beat him 2 days later and fans were upset about it. And to this day, I still disagree with how that feud was booked in particular. But Edge was on Chris Jericho's Talk is Jericho podcast, and Edge said that turning Christian heel was the smart move because if you remember, Christian was World Heavyweight Champion, and before that, they did the draft, and Randy Orton was drafted to SmackDown. And Edge said that if Christian was a face as World Champion, he would be the number 2 face next to Orton because, fans like Randy Orton. So by turning heel, that made Christian the number 1 heel of the brand instead of being in the shadow of Orton as a face, if that makes sense. Not to mention, the truth is, let's be real here. I love AJ Styles and I love TNA AJ Styles, but TNA AJ Styles is not who WWE wanted. WWE wanted New Japan AJ Styles, Bullet Club AJ Styles, Wrestle Kingdom AJ Styles, and that AJ Styles was heel. So, but overall, I mean, I don't have any problems with it. I think that his merch will still do good numbers. I think that I'm not really convinced that fans are going to boo AJ or at least boo him. I don't think he's going to get any real serious heat. I don't expect much change as far as general fan reactions are concerned. But WWE's done a lot of dumb things, but I'm not going to complain about AJ turning heel. I mean, this is fine. That's pretty much all I got to say about it, really.
All right, thank you, Toph. All right, Angry Mark is live now. I'm going to have him go ahead and take over, talk about the AJ Styles and the Bullet Club and the AJ Styles Hill. Go with Saltine and say your thoughts, and then Angry Mark, you go ahead and say your piece.
Well, my thoughts about the AJ Styles turn here is pretty brilliant because the fans wanted that AJ Styles to come because, you know, right, he was, as Toast say, Wrestle Kingdom and New Japan AJ Styles, that was the more over AJ Styles. So when he came to WWE and then we was a good guy, yeah, people like him, but they wanted to see, like, oh, where's the other Bullet Club guys? We want him to come out here, you know, represent the colors and everything. So they got that. But it's just a corny name. And somehow, if WWE changed the name into something that's more like impactful, I think the group can be really merchandise worthy. And AJ Styles merchandise is up because the gloves are selling well because they be sold out. I even want the damn gloves. You know, I've been telling you, Tech, that I wanted the gloves in TNA, but every time I get a chance, they be sold out. And now in WWE, they sold out. And then when AJ's shirt, the one that was in TNA, is now in WWE. Ain't that crazy? It's real crazy. So AJ Styles is a marketable man. And I really hope somehow during the months and everything, or maybe at the next pay-per-view, that we get Finn Balor so we can have a full Bullet Club reunion of some sort. It will bring more ratings up for people who like New Japan stuff and say, oh, yeah, our guys are here, let's see what they got. So I really can't wait for it.
Good, Angry Mark.
Hello.
Angry Mark, you live? Wake up, Angry Mark.
I'm
you drinking. What's going on?
Here.
Go ahead, live.
Nah, man, I had some personal shit I had to take care of.
I'm sorry, my apologies. We both all did. Everything good?
Everything is good, man. Everything is good.
Hey, go ahead and give your thoughts on Salty and Toast about AJ Styles turning heel in the club.
Honestly, I think they fucked up AJ's push from day one. They get him in the program, go saying, he can't beat Jericho at WrestleMania, so how's he going to fucking beat Roman Reigns, the champ? And then now he gets, the consolation prize, which is like John Cena. We know Cena will do the job at least once, but he won't do it 2 out of 3 times. We know that. And then after Cena, now what is it? Mr. Mid-Card status? I mean, there should have been a build here. I mean, build him around, maybe put the U.S. title on him or put him in the hunt for, Intercontinental strap or put him in a long-duration feud, a nice slow burn. But after the John Cena feud, I mean, what do you really do? I mean, I don't care about the heel face aspect at all with the club, because what I do care about is storyline development and growth of a character and booking. It just, what are you going to do after John Cena beats him 2 out of 3 times? Okay, I mean, it's all going to culminate at SummerSlam. Okay, so then what? Then what for AJ? Because we all know Cena's not going to put AJ over on the biggest stage. It's just not going to happen. Okay, Cena has a shovel. It's labeled. It says AJ Styles on the back. AJ knows it. Okay, what's next? The brand split, and, well, I couldn't beat Roman Reigns and I couldn't beat Cena, but maybe I can beat the United States champion, whoever that is, or the Intercontinental champion. So basically, it's just going to be AJ has to keep going down the card to stay relevant. And that's what I disagree with. I think they're doing his push ass backwards. That's my thoughts. Don't care about Gallows and Anderson. Completely don't care.
To retort what Angry Mark is saying, John Cena has a horrible record at SummerSlam. He loses all the time. And as far as where AJ goes from here, I'm not a fan of the brand split at all. I've already made that clear last week. But the advantage of the brand split is, like I said before Angry Mark called in, is they're focusing on Roman Reigns as their top guy. And then you have John Cena, who's the face of the company, which would make AJ number 3 by default. So what I don't like about the brand split, the thing that I hate the most about the brand split, and everyone knows exactly what I'm talking about, you know, when you used to see guys like Dolph Ziggler or Christian, or you look at guys now like Dean Ambrose and Cesaro, and you know fans say guys like that will never be WWE champion, but they could definitely be World Heavyweight champion. You know what I mean? Like, I hate when fans say that. So what happens is, if they do a little brand split thing, I guarantee you AJ will be the champion of SmackDown before the year is over. That'll be his brand. He'll feud with Cena, and AJ will feud over that SmackDown title, whatever the title is going to be. And granted, I don't want the brand split. I have no interest in it, but I guarantee you, if that's the direction they're going to do, if they're going to go back to the whole 2 world titles bullshit, I guarantee you that's.
They already confirmed that it.
Oh, you did
sorry, guys, sounded good difficulties. Yeah, I'm sorry. They already confirmed. Me and Green already said they already confirmed there's going to be 2 titles. They're doing a brand split, and that's pretty much that's the inevitable. That's what's going to happen. I mean, I actually think it will be good for the company as of right now to get more people and to get to see more of a difference. Because granted, you see the same people on Raw and SmackDown, and if you split the brand, more people get opportunity. You get to see more fresh faces, hopefully some new feuds, and more people get opportunity instead of seeing the same old. But that's just me. As far as, I'm sorry, I didn't hear most angry remarks as far as the heel turn. I know we predicted it. Actually, I don't know. Maybe it's me just getting used to AJ and WWE. I can't get with the theme song. I like AJ wrestling, but like you said, it's just not the AJ from years ago because I know he's getting older and he's hurt. The name of the club is so generic. It's like WWE really couldn't think of a better name. And like Angry Mark said, after Cena, what is AJ going to be left on? He's going to be mid-card. Feeding him up for the IC title next, the U.S. title. But they probably team him up with somebody a random single star, have him go for the tag team title. So I kind of like the heel turn. We knew it was going to happen. If you notice, AJ hasn't hit Cena with any of his big moves. They just pretty much have him just beating the crap out of his face. But like it's inevitable. I'm glad AJ is heel. I just wish they could book the club strong so they can be a formidable state. We haven't seen like a legit.
Here's the thing, Tech. You got to look at this on the whole reason AJ was brought in the first place. Multiple injuries. Okay. AJ was getting paid a lot of money to come in on a 2-year deal. Mainly for the first 6 months of that deal was a majority of his pay because of, no Rollins, no Bray Wyatt, no Randy Orton, John Cena, etc. Okay? So if you really look at it, now we have these other superstars coming back. The Bray Wyatts, okay, who are homegrown WWE superstars. With shitty booking and bad storylines. But, and we have Randy Orton coming back, and it's very, very feasible that we could possibly really see less of AJ Styles in main events, so to speak, past August, because it's like he was a bridge. AJ was a bridge to fill the gap until the other superstars could come back.
Right.
And
right.
Yeah, that's all he was.
Right.
And the whole club thing, WWE was buying into the hype of the Bullet Club, the insane merchandise sales, and they had it. They had the opportunity when they brought him in to do it right. You only have one chance to make a first impression. Okay,
right.
Period. They blew that too. Okay. I'm going to go on the record and state this. Luke Gallows will have a longer tenure with WWE than Carl Anderson and AJ Styles.
Yeah,
period.
I agree with that.
Okay. He will be with the company after they are gone.
Well, real quick, on that note, we have Afrocentric Queen making a rare appearance on Under the Mat Radio. Afrocentric Queen, welcome and give your thoughts of AJ Styles turning heel in the club.
Hey guys, how are you this evening?
How are you doing, young lady? Are you feeling better?
I'm getting there, Angry Mark. I'm getting there.
Well,
There's a lot of
good.
doctor's appointments and all of that other good stuff.
Well, a whiskey tidy helps for just about anything.
Well, my thoughts on AJ becoming heel. He became heel for me when you know me, I'm a Roman Empire princess. I'm a Roman Reigns girl. When he attacked him, that was it for me. If y'all didn't watch Raw, it was a point where John Cena and AJ did have words with each other, and they were going back and forth, and John Cena saying that it took AJ 15 years to get to WWE, and AJ telling John that, well, a lot of people say if you fight John Cena and you lose against him, then you get buried by him. It was just like a lot of shots going back and forth between those two. I really don't care for the club. I was with Soul Team. I wanted to see the Bullet Club myself, but since they couldn't bring the Bullet Club from the New Japan, coming with this lame generic name as text to it, and just like I really don't care for them. I really don't. I mean, that's all I got to say about that.
I agree with you on a lot of your points, and I brought this up numerous times. We brought this up during the Disco Inferno interview. It is really an insult and a slap in the face when you say it took these guys. I think John Cena's words were, "I think it took you almost 2 decades to get here." Okay, and
yeah.
that's true. And it took them almost 2 decades to make it there. Okay,
right.
And that tells you something. Like Disco Inferno said, there is a reason why people like Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, and AJ Styles weren't with the WWE 10 years ago, 7 years ago. Okay?
Right.
People can say who's the best wrestler in the world. Okay? But if you want the biggest paycheck and you want the best merch sales, there's one place you got to be, and that's the WWE.
Right.
And AJ, God bless him. His booking has been bad. The club's booking has been okay at best. But I think what they should have done, Queen, is I think they should have put Roman Reigns with the club. I think Roman should have been the one to turn heel and became the leader of the club. Yeah, I would have rather seen that than AJ, because here's the thing: AJ's a merch seller, and if you're going to push him as a heel, okay, well, you make money with merch, okay. So in a way, they're taking money out of AJ's pocket and the company's pocket by doing this. So that even tells me more that they truly don't care what happens with AJ as much financially, because he was a filler.
I mean, a question. Do y'all really think that because if you lose against John Cena that he buries you? I have never seen him. I have never seen that done in my eyes. Y'all know I'm a John Cena girl, but I would, agree with some stuff. But I'm like, I have never seen John Cena bury anybody.
Well, what shows you been watching? That's all he does.
Yeah, the term bury, Queen, basically it's, with Cena being the face, the top merch seller in the company, okay, basically when people say bury, what we're really saying is John Cena has to win the important matches to continue his merch sales to continue to be that draw to sell tickets at live events. Okay,
Right.
that's a rough explanation part of it. So when you hear the term bury thrown around, you just got to look and see who he wrestled at the big shows and who lost. And that
here's what it
tells you
means
a lot.
to me. When people say John Cena buries people, what it really means is John Cena does not have a feud. It doesn't matter who he's feuding with. Name one feud Cena had where he came out of it looking weaker. Every feud he has, even if he loses the feud, the way it's booked, he comes out still looking stronger if he lost. He had all those matches with Wade Barrett in the Nexus. He joined the Nexus, but at the end of the day, Wade Barrett looked like a chump, and John Cena's there. Okay, that's fine. It's whatever, Nexus, group of heels, cool, whatever. All right? But then you have some really questionable ones, like the Bray Wyatt situation at WrestleMania 30.
Right.
That was a good match. There many fans argued that John Cena didn't need to win that match. He didn't need to win the match, but because of Bray Wyatt's character, Bray Wyatt was all about making Cena do something he would ordinarily do. A lot of fans were comparing Bray Wyatt to the Joker. The Joker doesn't have an end game, doesn't want money. So there are arguments on both sides that Bray Wyatt didn't need to win the match, John Cena didn't win the match. Okay, John Cena won that match. They had a rematch. In the rematch, Bray Wyatt won, but he won with help. In a cage match, no less, which is unusual because even though Bray Wyatt was a heel, he wasn't the kind of heel that would cheat in his matches. Every single other person he fought, he beat by themselves, but with Cena, all of a sudden, he was a cowardly heel. Cena beat him in the third match. So then he has a series of matches with Kevin Owens, okay? So Kevin Owens beats him in the first match. John Cena beats him in the second match. Then they have a third match. John Cena won that third match, but what did it really do? Okay, so he won the third match, right? And if you remember, that match was for the U.S. title, right? And then if you remember, the very next month, John Cena fought Seth Rollins in a title-for-title match, right? And then Seth Rollins won the belt. But Seth Rollins didn't do anything with the U.S. title. So so what was the whole point of it then? You could have just had, he's John Cena. You could have just had Kevin Owens beat John Cena. He could have been the U.S. champion. And then you could have just did Cena versus Rollins the next month anyway. The exact same thing. But they didn't do that. So you had Cena beat Owens. What was the point of Cena beating Owens? There was no point. It was Owens being fed to Cena for no reason. So Owens was not buried. He recovered from it. He's still over. His merch is still selling. But he was a guy they built up, and they fed to Cena for no other reason because he's John Cena. You did the same thing to Rusev. Rusev was undefeated. He was the United States champion. He was defeating people, and if you remember, they did the whole storyline where Dolph Ziggler, Eric Rowan, and Ryback were fired. And I know a lot of wrestling fans have short-term memories, but Dolph Ziggler was actually over, and so was Ryback. And if you remember, Cena went through all that stuff to get them rehired. And if you remember, there was that segment where Ryback came back and looked like they were teasing a Ryback-Rusev feud. Remember, that was when Rusev was doing the whole anti-America thing, and Ryback said, and I quote, "It's not an American versus a Russian thing. It's a me kicking your ass kind of thing." And the fans reacted to that. We could have gotten Ryback versus Rusev. What did they do? They blew it off on SmackDown. It was a disqualification. That was the end of it. And then we had Rusev versus Cena. Now, granted, Cena beating Rusev led to the U.S. title open challenge, which was great, but still, Cena didn't have to beat Rusev. And then the biggest example of this is The Rock. The Rock. So The Rock and John Cena, they get built up for a year, right? They get built up for a year. They have the match. John Cena loses. The Rock wins. But then the very next year, they have another match, and Cena gets his win back. Okay, what about Daniel Bryan? Daniel Bryan beat John Cena, right? He beat John Cena. Sure he did. But what happened after that? The entire time, if you remember, Bryan beat Cena, right? And then Cena was gone because he had his arm injury. Remember that? He was gone. And during Cena's entire absence, they did that authority bullshit where Bryan and Orton were trading the title back and forth. There was not a decisive, consistent champion during Cena's absence. So even though Bryan beat him, he didn't benefit from it. So then the very same show.
Hold on. Actually, forget. I don't want to cut you off. You might be going to this. Remember the fact that Daniel Bryan, when he defeated Cena cleanly, that is also when Orton ended up trading on in the cash in the Money in the Bank.
Orton turned on him. Right, and
Right.
then when that storyline finished, like when the Orton Bryan stuff was over, by that point Cena was already back. So Bryan beat Cena, but what did it really mean? CM Punk beat Cena, but he was number 2 the entire time. So it's not that John Cena buries people. It's just his character is not humbled. Like The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Bret Hart, even Hogan. Those dudes would lose, right? And when they lost, they would be gone for like an extended period of time, and they would focus on somebody else. The way John Cena is booked, and I don't know if it's him or if it's Vince or if it's creative, but the way Cena is booked, he doesn't. It's like if you feud with Cena, it's like a black hole. There's nowhere to go but down, and I don't know whose fault it is. And too many people have been sucked in this.
But with that, Angry Mark, I know, what are your thoughts with that? Okay, before we go over a couple other things. Angry Mark.
I'm here, brother.
No, actually, your thoughts of the whole Cena, like the Bermuda Triangle, the whole Cena holder where, like I said, everybody that feeds with Cena pretty much goes down, not really able to get back up as far as their status.
Well,
maybe it's just me. I'm just saying stuff. I don't know. Okay.
Here's the thing. Okay, WWE has only made one true superstar in the past 10 years. That is John Cena. Okay, the art of building the superstar has been lost. Okay, now he is the gravy train. Okay, he is the guy getting onto A-list movies and cameos. He's the guy who's going and guest hosting nationally syndicated morning shows. Okay, he's your Make-A-Wish buddy. Okay, Vince is going to ride that gravy train as long as he can. You can't do 50-50 booking with John Cena. People don't want to hear it, but plain simple fact is you've got to book John Cena 75 to 80% of the time going over. Okay? Until you have the next superstar about ready to break through and you start to see it, and the increase in merch sales, okay, you've got to agree with what Vince is doing from a business standpoint. From a financial standpoint, anybody who disagrees is a fucking idiot who doesn't know how to run a business. Period.
Yep.
Okay? So at the end of the day, until that next face of the company who can really be over initially, like Cena has been getting a whole boo thing for like 4.5 years. Okay, I don't want to hear people, it's not been happening for 5, 6, 7 years, people. Okay, it happens when he goes up against people like The Rock, okay,
right.
But that's to be, expected. But, it's now time for the WWE to try and grow a star somehow, okay, and now they just got to figure out how to do it. And it has to be somebody in their 20s. It has to be somebody in their 20s.
Okay, you mentioned Cena being an RZ champion that they homegrown made, but people tend to forget within the past 15, 16 years, the only other champion they homegrown was Randy Orton. Granted, he's not as marketable as Cena, but in the span of 15 years, and let's go backwards here, back in time. What's the one thing WWE? It's funny how history repeats itself. WWE for the longest during the Monday Night Wars, they kept getting on WCW, not making new stars, because you had the Hogans and the Savages and the Stings and the Lugers, and WCW didn't make younger stars. We have Austin and The Rock and Triple H. They also got on WCW for not making new stars, and also about how they used to rewrite shows at whim. Now, WWE's doing the same mistake. They're rewriting shows back and forth. They never know what they want to do. They go through all these last-minute rewrites. And yet, within the past 15 years, WWE has only produced, and no, WWE has NXT. Even before NXT, they had all these developmentals, Ohio Valley Wrestling, Deep South, all of these. They've only produced 2 legitimate homegrown champions. That is sad. John Cena and Randy Orton.
And to piggyback on what Tech is saying, how many times do you hear those stories about, there's a pay-per-view on Sunday and, they still haven't decided who's going to go over, and it's like Saturday night. You know what I mean? So
yeah, it's Saturday night, Sunday morning. Sometimes during the actual event, as we watching, it's still rewriting. So it said, Angry Mark, knowing business as well, and well, me knowing it, it said in 15. Think about if you had a regular job, and your company in 15 years, you've only produced 2 homegrown products that made you money in 15 years. Can you imagine that? Just imagine if McDonald's or Burger King in 15 years only produced.
Oh, wait, so you don't count Batista?
2, no. You know what?
I count him.
Yeah,
I'd count Batista,
yeah, I would
maybe.
count him. Uh-huh.
You would? What about you, Saltine?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Angry Mark, you count Batista?
What, Tech?
Would you count Batista as also homegrown? We only mentioned Cena and Orton, but Toast did mention Batista.
Well, yeah, I mean, we mentioned Orton a couple weeks ago, okay, and I brought it up with Disco Inferno last week because of the plain simple fact is Randy Orton was 21 years old, and we had the conversation last week. WWE is not getting guys in their early 20s TV time, okay, to build them, to build them into a star by the time they're 24, 25. It's not happening. But to answer your question, yes, Batista is homegrown. Batista went through Ohio Valley Wrestling. He went through Rip Rogers, okay? So, yes, Batista is a homegrown talent. But at the same time, Batista was also part of the tail end, early stages of, like, the Attitude Era and Ruthless Aggression, okay? So, who's to say what would have happened with Batista if it wouldn't have been for Triple H getting him over?
To Batista's credit, he was kind of organic, sort of. I don't think he was one of those guys that Vince, looked at him and said, yeah, that's our guy. It just, like what Angry Mark is saying, it just kind of, Triple H really helped out there,
Well, he's a Triple H guy.
Yeah,
Batista and Orton was, that's when the time went to, it started becoming, either you was Triple H's guy or you was Vince's. Case in point, if you think about it with Del Rio, if you notice, Del Rio said this on interviews before, Triple H never was a fan of Del Rio. So if you notice when Triple H had started running things in Power, Del Rio wasn't used much. Neither was Rey Mysterio. So that's when, just a little side note, that's when the whole power shift came in where you use Triple H's guys, you use Vince's guys. So, of course, John Cena is a Vince guy. I mean, Triple H and Cena is cool, but you pretty much get what I mean. Thank you, Mark. Something that you put on Twitter, and once you mentioned this, I'll let Afro Queen give her thoughts. Something you mentioned on Twitter last night, and of course you brought the news, that Raw's dark match main event for the live audience at Raw was Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns.
It was a tag match, but those two were in the dark match after the show. That is correct.
Right. And you made a point about how WWE didn't put neither one of these guys in the main event of Raw on TV. So give your thoughts on that.
All right, so the reason that they weren't on TV is because they wanted to try and push the focus on Cena and the club, which is not working, okay? We're not seeing ratings increases, okay, with AJ, and we're not seeing it with Cena, okay? Forget the NBA playoffs. When your ratings are staying the same, when you're bringing back Cena and Rollins, and you're putting AJ in there with Cena, you should see some type of spike, I guess. But what that's telling me is nobody gives a shit. Okay, this is, they don't. So Roman and Rollins were kept off so the spotlight could go onto AJ and Cena, but that just shows me the lack of confidence that Vince has in Rollins and Roman as the main event of Money in the Bank. It shows me the lack of confidence backstage. I don't care what anybody says. From a production standpoint and a personnel standpoint, if you truly believe these two are the future of your company, they are on every show. Period.
And not to add, and I'll add this real quick, then I'll after since Queen give her thoughts too, is remember Raw, unlike SmackDown, Raw is on primetime cable. So, of course, with Raw being, of course, written, of course, you write segment, well, anything. We do radio, we do media. Angry Mark knows this, I know this. We've done this, we've done this actually in a radio studio. Anybody that does segments or anything, radio, TV, you do segments based upon viewership. You always put certain people, you do certain segments based upon viewership. You want the highest ratings. And, of course, it will show you when the ratings go up, you pay attention to who's actually on TV, because that's when you want most butts in the seats. For instance, the Monday Night Wars. That's why certain people started off the top of the hour. People were in the show, main event, of course, because those would be the highest ratings. With that saying, WWE, Vince McMahon, whoever he puts in the main event is who he trusts or he feels will have the best opportunity to bring in more viewers. Who he keeps off TV agrees. For instance, all of CM Punk's run, all of Daniel Bryan's run. Think about it. None of those guys main evented Raw when they were champ. Who main evented Raw? It was Triple H. It was The Authority. It was John Cena. When John Cena and Triple H was champ, they still main evented because Vince had more confidence in them. So this still leads to Angry Mark's point. Vince doesn't have trust in Roman Reigns or Rollins to bring in more ratings and felt that the New Day, AJ Styles and Cub and Cena, had a better chance. Ever since you're Queen, do you agree with Angry Mark or do you feel a different way?
No, I agree with him. If Vince has this big thing on Roman Reigns, why are you putting him in a dark match? Why are you putting the champion in a dark match? You're trying to build up something coming up into Money in the Bank between Rollins and Reigns. I mean, I don't get that. I really don't. And you putting AJ Styles, and I was shocked and surprised Monday that they had the New Day in the main event, which they've never been in the main event on Raw. They're always like in the first hour or the second hour of the show. I mean, Vince needs to get his head straight. You can't have good you pushing Roman Reigns on these people, and as Toph and all y'all would say, y'all stuffing them down their throats. Yeah, I'm a Roman Reigns girl. He's cool with me. But yeah, if you're pushing him on people and you making him your guy, why in a dark match? What's the purpose? That's your champion. He should be in a main event, or he should be on TV altogether.
Good point. Now, real guys, Toph Saltine, did y'all see Raw? The Raw?
No, I haven't seen Raw.
So
yeah, I saw the end.
Okay, Angry Mark. Yeah, I know Angry Mark, you did. Is it me, or did it seem like the crowd was pretty much dead during that main event, even during the New Day segment? Maybe it was just me. I mean, I've been getting off work hella late lately. It's been busy. I don't know if it was tired, but to me, it just seemed like the crowd just wasn't into it, even with the New Day segment. Angry Mark, did you get the same feel after your Queen Toph? Did y'all feel the same way?
There was very much a lack of serious pops in the crowd. Okay, the WWE is not only losing their at-home audience, but they're losing the live audience interaction. Okay, so And another thing that's happening that really proves a point is, you know how WWE talks about social media, their increase in social media awareness. Okay, so let's talk about that. Last night, Teddy Long is on Raw. Teddy Long experienced a 15% growth of his Twitter account for being on Monday Night Raw. A 15% increase in total followers. AJ Styles has had less than a 5% increase. I'm sorry. It just goes to show you, do the fans truly care? If so, they'd be hitting the follow button. They'd be hitting the like button. So you mean to say
Teddy Long is more over than AJ Styles?
Apparently so, from the crowd reaction when he showed up.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. WWE wants to tout the fact of social media. But when you see wrestlers enter the company who aren't showing the social media growth, okay, that's telling you something. That's telling you they aren't growing AJ's fan base. Okay? They aren't. Okay? It's the internet wrestling community, you know, who's like all AJ fever, you know, hey, he's in the WWE, this is great, blah, blah, blah. But Teddy Long gained more followers based on percentage than what AJ Styles has since the month of January.
Mm-hmm.
There's something wrong with that. Seriously, there is something wrong with that.
It is.
You know, and by the way, shout out to Teddy for responding back and forth to Under the Mat last night. Great guy, great guy. You know, and I just got to get this out there. Last night, Under the Mat Radio hit a milestone on Twitter. Our tweets seen by more than 10,000 people last night in a 3-hour span.
Yes.
Wow.
Breaking news.
Wow.
Yeah, so
awesome.
we're breaking ground every week. Yeah, big shout out to all the Under the Mat Radio fans, the Angry Mark fans. You know,
everybody, Wrestling Black and White fans. All fans.
They're doing it. They're doing it.
Awesome.
I mean, Sid Bishop was retweeting us.
Yes. Shout out to Sid. And we also got to give a shout out to extended family, to Razor Cabron, good old RC, the great tweeter, Razor Cabron, who, like I said, due to scheduling, like I always count on my media assistant and my correspondents and Angry Mark for doing a great work, social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, or whatnot. So shout out to Razor. And we do want to give a quick shout out to, a Soul Still Burns segment for Cleveland. Soul Still Burns for you, Cleveland.
Okay.
The city.
Let's have a moment of silence. We're going to have a 10-bell salute and memoriam for LeBron James. I'm getting breaking news. I'm being told that he's hanging out in the shadow realm of Karl Malone. Where is Carl? I miss you, buddy. Man, you should have won a ring, man. Anyway, all right, moment of silence, guys. Here we go.
And that's enough. They don't get 10 rings. They don't get 10 votes. We get a bill on the head. Cleveland, sucks to be you.
Yeah, man, that was pretty bad, though.
Yeah,
pretty bad, seriously, though.
Your city's cursed. We'll give a shout-out to ESPN, the 30 for 30 documentaries, Love 'Em to Death. Please watch Believe Land, which is a documentary on the city of Cleveland, this Cleveland sports in general, how they just come so close but yet so far.
You talking about something that's wrong with the world? So you mean to tell me The Miz brings the title to Cleveland before LeBron does? Come on now. That's a sign of the end times, man. Jesus is coming back. Get you ready, guys.
Well, Drew Curry also, represent Cleveland well with the theme song, the Drew Curry Show, which I heard Angry Mark, the Drew Curry Show reruns has higher ratings than TNA.
Does what show
every
get better?
show on TV
The Drew Curry Show.
Reruns
Reruns of the Drew Curry Show has higher ratings than TNA.
Well, come on now. Drew Carey's like 100 times more popular than TNA. That's
Thank
not
you, Mark.
even fair.
All the TV shows are more popular than TNA. Sorry.
Even that show Viper with Pamela Anderson. If you've never heard of it, please watch it. Thank you, Mark. Your thoughts real quick on Cleveland and the curse of Cleveland and LeBron. I know we was kind of tweeting back and forth watching the finals. Don't worry, we'll get back to wrestling in a second. Your thoughts of Cleveland and LeBron.
Here's the thing. I put it out there on the Under the Mat page. The Golden State Warriors had 20 turnovers. Klay Thompson and Steph Curry were both held to under 20 points. And they still won by 33. Klay and Steph have not lit it up together on the court this whole series. Okay? Cleveland has been trying their damnedest. Okay, LeBron, 23, 26, 7 boards, 8 boards, 6 assists, 9 assists. Irving, 27 points. Kevin Love, 21. They're doing whatever they can. But the scary part is Golden State is only getting better.
Mhm.
Seriously, they're only getting better.
Anytime you hold Golden State Warriors, two best players, you hold them to the fewest points, and he still mollywop you, you're in bad shape. And once again, it's still LeBron James and 4 downloadable characters. Player 2, player 3, and player 4. Same thing he dealt with in Cleveland years ago when he got mollywopped by the Mavericks in the finals, when he lost to the finals again to the Spurs. LeBron James, it's great. LeBron James is a great player. I'm a fan of LeBron. He's great, but LeBron can't do it by himself. Even Jordan had tipping.
I got a question I want to ask. Now, I'm still learning a little bit about NBA, so I know you guys know a little bit more. But all serious being, all jokes aside, what I'm seeing a lot of folks basically say that LeBron needs to build a dream team to win, if that makes sense. Like there's players that you can put on a team, right? And they can push other players on another level to make them really good. And then you have people that can't do that. And it's like if they're not on a team with other top players, they can't win, And so that's what I'm hearing about LeBron. So would you guys agree with that statement, or what do y'all think?
I disagree. I'll tell you why I disagree, because here's the thing. When he was in Miami with Bosh and Wade, was that a dream team? No. It was a team that was diversified. It had Pat Riley, who designed 5 championship teams for the Los Angeles Lakers.
Yep.
Okay.
Shout out to the Knicks, too. Pat Riley's Knicks.
So now, with Cleveland, you have Kevin Love, who is like almost 7 feet tall, okay, who insists on being a three-point shooter. There's a problem with that, okay? His pussy ass will not go down inside the block and post up like he should, all right? He's scared of black men, all right? Let's just put it out there. Kevin Love is scared of big black men and will not post up. He is a total pussy, and he's getting paid max money. He got max money of $100 million plus for 5 years, and the son of a bitch doesn't even have a good post-up game.
So would Kevin Love be afraid of Saltine?
Kevin Love would be afraid of Saltine just because he's black. Okay? And here's the thing. You got Kyrie Irving. The problem is with Cleveland, and people can say what they want. LeBron James came into this league when it was still okay to be drafted as a high school player. He was 18. LeBron James is now 32. Okay? LeBron James has been playing a lot of minutes in the regular season and the postseason every year. So with him being in the league now, going on his 12th season, 13th season, it's the equivalent of playing 15 years in the league. We are seeing in front of us LeBron James put